Okay, we're on. And Danielle's in a quiet room muted, so I can tell kids are trying to sleep or something. Welcome, you guys, tonight to tonight's call. It's Monday night. It is deep into August, and we are kind of pitter-pattering along as we prepare for our huge bang in September, like we always have. And tonight's call, I posted a video, so we're going to call this the boat story call. Did everybody get a chance to watch that video that I posted on the Honeybees? It was really short. It was on Gold Coast. Just give me a thumbs up if you were able to see it.
Was it today?
I believe it was Sunday, yesterday. Yeah.
I don't remember.
I just saw it. I didn't get a chance to watch it. I just saw it pop up.
Well,
what's it about?
I'll give you a quick recap. That's what I wanted to ask because it's really pertinent to tonight's call. So basically, the story is this, and when we're done with this, you'll go back and watch it. It's really short. It's like 2 minutes or something. But there were some gentlemen that owned this huge, we'll call it a yacht, a cruise liner, something like that, right? Huge boat. And the boat all of a sudden just wouldn't work. And they're trying to leave dock and they couldn't get anybody to fix it. And they called in a bunch of resources and nobody seemed to be able to get it to go. And finally, they found this man who had been, working on boats for 40 years or such. And he ends up coming over and, taking a look at it. And he looks at it and he looks at it and he thinks for a little bit. Then he reaches into his bag and he pulls out a small little hammer. And he takes that hammer and he gently taps in one special little spot on this huge cruise liner, right? It's like a really expensive boat. And all of a sudden the engine kicks into gear and starts working. So he sends a bill to the gentleman, to the guys who own the boat, and he sends a $10,000 bill. And they were aghast, and they were like, $10,000? Like, that's crazy. All you did was tap it with a hammer. They said, we want an itemized bill, So he sends back an itemized bill. He says $2 for tapping with a hammer, $9,998 for knowing where to tap. Right? And the story, what makes this story important and pertinent to our business is what it says after that in the video, which is effort is important, but knowing where to make an effort makes all the difference. So I wanted to bring that to you guys tonight because we get caught in this trap a lot. I mean, I've been doing this for 10 years. It's more than that now. And I see patterns start to emerge, right? Where we get these amazing people that come on board, and then sometimes they just kind of get stuck or staggered and they don't really launch properly, or there's some kind of catch up in somewhere in that process, right? And it brought me to this point of thinking about, I think it's not for lack of effort 90% of the time. It's for lack of knowing where to put that effort so that they can make the impact that they're looking for in their business, right? So my question to you tonight is, and I really encourage you to be brave, because the more you talk through this, the more it's going to impact yourself, is, do you know where to make an effort to grow your own business? Like, do you feel confident in knowing where to put your effort to make that kind of impact, to make that growth, or to move yourself forward to the next spot? So I want to open it up for discussion, and whoever wants to be brave and go first. Okay, Jennifer, go ahead.
I definitely need to just get more comfortable building teams. I think my Carrie, who I hope is on, I think she's supposed to come on. Oh, she's not on yet, but just helping her get launched and started, and getting her off on the right track already. Even with the conversation with Danielle today, reminded me of some of the basics I have to go back to, just having events on the calendar, both for growing business and for customers. But that's where I have to just, and we talked about this too, just my leadership roles. Like, I understand how to build customers and care for customers and have a better customer base. My customers are staying more loyal now, but I need to focus more on events and taking that leadership role so I can grow not just deep but wide.
And I would ask you a further question then. So first of all, I'm grateful that you're on point in terms of where your focus needs to be and all that stuff. Come on, Kayla. I'm going to sit you guys outside, and I just turned the oven off. So in making efforts to do those things, do you feel comfortable that are you comfortable that you feel that you know what the action steps are to step into growing more team, like to break it down into those tangible things? And I'm not, I'm not trying to.
No, I think I still have a lot more to learn from that standpoint. I mean, I have some idea,
Mm-hmm.
but I think if I knew all of those steps, I would have more team already. So I think I definitely need to focus on those steps, do more of a DMO and for the week and I don't know. I don't know fully. I don't know all the steps, but I need to do that because even with getting Carrie on board and helping train her, it's duplicatable. Once you do it, once you invite someone to join, then it becomes easier. And then each team member you bring on, you're reminded of the steps,
Totally. Yeah.
And you've said that over and over again. And also a key point that you've always said is to stay consistent, because if you train one person and then you don't bring on a new team member for 6 months, then you may forget half of the things that you learned. If you bring on multiple team at the same time and you can train them together or very close together, then it's just going to be more successful. So even though it's not what's the word? Even though it's a marathon, it's not necessarily sprint. Sometimes you have to do small sprints to move within that marathon to move your business up. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah. And you know what, Jennifer, you bring up such a great point, and I appreciate that so much, because the way that I've always learned best, it's kind of like I think about, my daughter, she went to a tennis camp for 2 weeks this summer, and in the tennis camp, she got to practice the same stroke over and over and over and over again until she got really good at it. And then she moved on to the next stroke, and then she went again, and then moved on to the next thing. And I think that that's a really great mindset or behavior set to really apply to our business, because, if we focus on repetition of those items, then what happens is we get better as we go. Like you said, you get better at the startup, you get better each time. But also what you're doing is you're modeling for your team that, you're willing to try, for one, and, you're really committed to the process. So more even important than a DMO, I think, is just being the commitment to the process of knowing that, the first couple steps that we take is really starting a memory jogger, right? And now we have this great site that's going to support us through that process. So even if you kind of stumble at some point and you're like, okay, I'm ready to jump back in, just go straight back over to, the Freedom Revolution, those processes, right? And so at any given point, it's a nice little refresher. Danielle and Christine and I were talking today, we were laughing, and we're like, we all need to go back and do that again, because it's kind of a new skill for us too. It's a new, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. Can you hear me okay?
My laptop is saying that your bandwidth is low.
Because everybody's frozen.
Yeah.
Your video's freezing on and off, but I can hear you.
Okay. Paul just pulled in the driveway, so I'm going to go back inside here. Okay, hold on. That's fine. My battery's low and everything's low. I was outside because he was not home yet. So, okay. Let me plug in here. Is this better? Did it change all of a sudden? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So did you hear what I said, or should I repeat that? About the Freedom Revolution?
Repeat.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Repeat it. Okay. So basically what I was saying was that Chrisanne and Danielle and I were talking just this morning about how, we need to repeat that ourselves. We need to go through there and get more comfortable ourselves, because it's a new tool. It's a new tool. It's the same stuff that we've been doing before, but it's a new tool. It's a new way of doing it. So I'm trying to get my phone plugged in so I don't lose you. And that repetition, kind of as it relates back to the tennis, analogy, just gives us that chance to get good at these skills and really start to put effort into the right places, because the system is going to tell you what to do. that's going to help you yield the results of where you want to go. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So whenever in doubt, always lean back on the system. That's the key. And I think what happens is we tend to sway away from that and just get busy with things that either feel good or, you know, we're comfortable with, like getting on calls and doing all that kind of stuff, right? But like the truth is, if you have like an hour out of the week that you need to, that you can work your business and that's all you have, you know, the last thing I would want you to do is go listen to calls. The first thing I would want you to do is spend time building a memory jogger. And the second piece is I would utilize Voxer to the best of my ability to start Voxering with your, you know, first line upline leader, that you could get some support in going back and forth and how to communicate with people. Because you could probably send out text messages or that kind of stuff and contact a lot of people in a short amount of time if you use technology to your advantage. So my point being in this whole reason that we're talking, trust this computer. Yes, trust the computer. Okay. Oh gosh. Sorry, I'm all over the place with technology tonight as we're speaking about it. But the bottom line is, you know, the system, again, is going to tell you where to put your effort, right, in terms of where to go. But it's up to you to practice it in repetition. And the best way to practice it is to start with that funnel, you know, to start like with the funnel, with your memory jogger, with that list of people that you want to reach out to, B, you're following up with, C, you know, or in the process of closing or whatever. And when you get stuck, you always ask for help. But the more that we can build into that space, the more you have to work with. And the more you have to work with, the more practice you get, because there's more interactions, there's more people to talk to, there's more, you know, phone calls, text messages, like questions, right, coming at you. I love the 2000 plus because it really forces you to do a lot of work in a short amount of time. And I find that the people who really jump in and go through that process and they really are coachable and follow that system, they learn so much and they're so much more confident as reps as they step out of that experience into the next phase. You know, when we kind of dawdle around a little bit, or some people, and it's not anybody's, I'm not judging here, I'm just kind of observing, right? In some cases where people take a long time to make a decision that, yes, this is what I want to do or whatever, they go slowly. You know, a lot of times you'll hear people say, well, we'll just see how it goes, right? You'll sign people up and they'll say that, I really like this, I'm excited, we'll just see how it goes. Like, I'm not going to put any pressure on myself kind of thing. And we're glad to have them, but the challenge for them is that they don't get that repetitious like practice along the way, like some of the other people do in a different experience. Does that make sense? So, so back to my original question of like, do you feel confident in knowing where to go, to where to put your effort? Was there anybody else that wanted to like jump in there and talk a little bit through that for themselves? This is your time, so I really wanted to. Oh, hey, Brianne. Hi, Mom. We have a couple of other. You guys missed the beginning of this. I posted up a video that talked about the story of the boat. Did you guys watch it? It was short. If not, none of this is going to make any sense. That's why I'm asking you. I can't hear you, Mom. You're muted.
Melissa, I'll jump in.
Talking about the orca and the boat.
Not the orca, no.
Oh, that's a different
No
one.
orca. But we'll look for that one next. Greta, go ahead.
I don't know if this is the same thing as to what you mean here, but I've noticed, like, when I try to have more consistency in terms of just making it known that I'm part of this and and everything, and social media tends to work for me. People, I've noticed, especially the last couple of weeks more than ever, that people are really watching, even if they don't say anything online.
Yep.
I've been approached by so many people at work asking me about what all those shakes were, just because Jen Bernstein put out that little challenge for 7 days of different shakes. And I have, like, some people thought I was on some liquid diet. I'm like, no. But it got them asking me. So it's just interesting. And now I've got someone just randomly that I didn't even know who she was, and I asked her how she found my name. Messaged me today asking for more information about this. It turns out it was from another person's page. So, like, I just keep getting response from online, and I don't want to live my life online, but I just tend to get reaction. So for me, I feel
Yep.
like I should focus on online, not
Yeah.
as an only thing, but definitely don't let that go.
But don't, if it's not broke, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if hey, whatever is working, go with it. Like sometimes the craziest things will surprise me that people respond to. It's hysterical, you know? And I'm like, they responded to that? Like of all the things I've ever
Yeah.
posted, that was the thing that got them, you know?
Right.
But hey.
And though I didn't
Yeah.
meet my beekeeper online, although technically I did because I Googled
Yeah.
for a beekeeper, but I've never actually met her yet because she comes when I'm at work.
Yeah.
And because of where our beehive is, she doesn't have to access our home, so she can come whenever she wants. But my mom's met her a couple of times now, and my mom started in on her right away because I asked her to get a picture of her in her bee gear, her beekeeper gear, because I really wanted to post it to you guys. And so she told
so
her
cute.
why she wanted a picture right away, so she was all interested. What is this honeybees team?
Oh, I love it.
So I've been giving her information, and I've been building a relationship with her through text and Facebook right now.
That's
Helping
awesome.
spread the word for her bee page, as well as like now she's
Yeah.
asking me more questions since she saw a video, and so I never know where it's gonna go, but people are definitely looking. And I found out she loves gardening, so
There you go. Yep. So she's
growing a whole
receptive.
bunch of her own
She's
vegetables
receptive.
already.
Yeah, she's receptive and she's open. And that's where you want to be. Like you want to be swimming with the people that are receptive and open, right? And
And
they're
that's
looking
why I
for
brought
things.
that up, because
Yeah.
like I noticed
Yeah.
like my feeling on the way home from work today was, oh my God, like this person would be amazing because she already gets it. She gets the whole point. Like, and I realized, you know, you're wasting your time trying to convince anybody of anything ever.
Yes, exactly. Thank you, Greta. Yay. That was like the brass moment for the night. Exactly. And that's the whole point of this is like, are we hammering in the right spot? Like, are we, you know, we're putting all this effort in, and usually what I find is that when people aren't moving forward, like it's because they're thinking about what they're going to do, or they're thinking about what they should be doing, but there's a disconnect between the thinking about it and the doing it part, you know? And so or they're doing something, but they're doing it and it's not effective. Like, let's just say, Greta, that you were posting a bunch and you weren't getting any response, and it wasn't like, and you were like, you know what, this is really not going anywhere. But you had this conversation with the beekeeper, and you had a conversation with somebody in the grocery store. I would say to you, you know what, guess what? Like, that's working for you right now. Spend more time doing that, right? But it sounds to me like you are having some response online. So I would put a little bit more energy in there, as well as you know, kind of branch out and practice these other areas of communication with people, right? Because
I definitely need practice with the in-person thing, but when I see someone like her that is already in that mindset, it does come naturally easier for me.
Absolutely. And you're responding to the right things because she's giving you the right cues. You know, there are people that you'll find that will just, hold on, one quick second. You have to cook it further. It's not fully cooked. I stopped it because you weren't here. What you need to do is like really make sure that when we're talking to people, like your gal, like she's receptive, she's open, but sometimes we can waste our time on people. Sometimes we can, you know, be talking to somebody and they're giving us the lip service and they're making us feel good and they're being really polite and they're like, oh, you know, yeah. And they're like, nothing happens, you know, like also know in that space too, like your time is valuable, you guys. Just like this guy, he charged $9,998 for tapping on a hammer because he valued his expertise and his time. You know, I really want you to carry that with you when you think about these things, because you guys are valuable. You are, you know stuff. You've poured into this. Everybody on this phone, I'm looking through right now to see who's here with us, but you've all taken the time and energy to educate yourself, to spend time, to go to lectures, to go to conferences, to do these things, to build your skills. Like, you have a value add to offer people. And I want you to carry that like with you in your head, like that $9,998 for 2 minutes of work, because you're worth it, you know? And if you come into a conversation with that kind of confidence and that kind of poise and knowing your value when you get there, like you said, Greta, you don't want to convince anybody of anything. That's not what we're looking for. We're looking for people who are ready to make a change. We're looking for people who are open to being inspired. We're looking for happy, like honest, good working people, you know, that want to join us on our mission. You know, you're looking for people to surround yourself that's going to amplify what you've got inside of you. Like, trust the fact that you have skills that the world needs. trust that you have, you know, these tools that the world can benefit from. And it's really up to us to go back to the system, to figure out where am I not quite putting my energy into. If you're not getting the results you're getting, if you're getting the results that you're wanting, don't change anything, keep going, you know. But if you're looking to make a bigger impact to your business, fall back on the system, fine tune, take a look, see where we can, you know, turn up the volume in certain areas or increase, you know, certain activities, right? And then from there, that's where I would just encourage you to pour your energy in, but also in every interaction, take with you that confidence of this boat guy and just know $9,998 for 2 minutes of work, you know, because you are worth it. You are worth it. And every time you touch somebody and every time you talk to somebody, you're blessing that person with some information that they didn't have before, you know, that really could change their life, whether it's business or product. So is this starting to make sense? Am I coming full circle in a way that you can take this and walk away and feel good and put something into action? Brianne's like, no, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, I'm teasing.
Can I mention something else?
Of course, of course.
So this reminds me very much, because I don't know if people know, but I'm a physical therapist. That's my background. And in physical therapy, I had a teacher. She's probably 95 years old now. I mean, she was like in her 70s. She was brilliant, and she was a really good diagnostician. She made it very, very simple. She said, you know, you don't have a lot of time with each patient, but you really have to get to the cause of the problem. That's true with medicine. That's true with, you know, with any field. You really have to get to the cause of the problem, because if they have pain in their foot and you're rubbing their foot and massaging their foot and mobilizing their foot, but the problem is really coming from their back or up, like you've just wasted, you've wasted all this time and you're getting nowhere. And sometimes it's as simple as they're doing like a faulty movement all day. So she had this one person who literally put their hand all the way behind their back and try to like scratch their opposite shoulder blade. And she said, every time I do that, in this really awkward position, every time I do that, my shoulder hurts. And she said to her, don't do that. Give me that will be $100. And it just reminded me of that. It's like some extreme motions, like, you know, if you're going to contort your body like that, like you're going to have pain most likely. So I don't know. It just, when you said that, it just reminded me of that, like that she just, and there would be sometimes when patients would come in and they would tell me similar things. And I always came back to her. She was just brilliant, and she just made it so easy. And that's why she's so successful. And that's why she has such, not only financially, but has such a good success rate with her patients, because she knows how to, she has a very systematic approach to evaluating a patient. And she does a very similar approach to each type of patient, depending on where their, you know, pain is. And he wrote a book about it, these movement impairment syndromes, and she has it. I mean, she could diagnose someone in 5 minutes. So
but there's part of the diagnosis requires a step, and that step's so critical and a parallel to our business, which is, your point is beautiful, of really getting to the root of things. But if we as reps want to get to the root of things and really help people, we need to do some discovery. Right. You know, we can't just come in there waving our flag like Juice Plus is going to change everything, right? Like, because we really need to ask some questions about them to see, one, are they open to information before we offer anything, right? Are they open? If I don't know if this is going to help or not, but if you're open to some information, I'd love to share it with you. Okay, great. What have you got? Hold on, let me grab a video and I'll send you something. What's your best contact? I mean, you have to ask a couple of questions. Tell me more about that. How does it, you know, one gal online, I'm in this conversation with this gal right now. There was like a whole big thread in this SoCal holistic site or whatever that we're part of. And she has some bowel issues, and she took a picture of her stomach and it was totally distended. And I was like, oh my gosh, I remember those days. And that's what I wrote. I said, I remember those days. It said, you know, I feel for you. That is so uncomfortable, you know? And I said, I found a way to get rid of it about 10 years ago. I'm happy to share if you want me to. I didn't say what Juice Plus was. I didn't, you know, whatever. There were all these other people with all these different solutions and everything else that they had to talk about. But in this particular scenario, it was just really nice. Like, she actually, I sent her a private, she did respond. I do want to know, do you still have the issues? Ask me some questions. Was really curious. And I said, I'll PM you, you know, and wanted to get it offline. And I sent her a friend request. She didn't accept. So it was about like 3 days or 4 days or something. And then today she just accepted and said, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I missed this. It was in my spam folder. I really want to talk to you. Like, I'm so excited. Like, she's ready now to hear what I have to say. Right. Because I, one, had some hope for her to offer. And two, I could relate because I'd been there, you know, and three, because, you know, I asked her some questions and we kind of got down in there, but providing value to people, right? That's knowing where to hammer that, you know, to place the hammer, right? That's the whole point of it, the value piece. So I just want to encourage you guys as we get off tonight, you know, really take some time to self-reflect a little bit over your own journey in your own Juice Plus business. You have, you know, the talent that I'm looking at right now on the line is just incredible. You guys have so many gifts to offer people. You have experiences. You have, you know, your own personal journey and your own personal experience in addition to everything that you've learned through the Juice Plus experience. But, you know, what I encourage you most is just like take a moment, self-reflect, like build yourself up a little bit. I want you to look in the mirror and really be confident in who you are and what you have in your pocket. You know, you don't have to have a degree behind you to know that what we do is right and effective for people, right? And we have a lot of good to offer a lot of human beings, you know. And somebody said it to me today as he was kind of recapping what I do. He said, listen, your passion is in a place because you don't want to see families go through what you went through. And it just totally tore me up. And I was like, oh my gosh, you get me, you know, like you totally get me. Like, I feel like the catcher in the rye at the end of the, you know, the end of the precipice, and I'm trying to catch everybody before they fall off into this cancer diagnosis, you know, and whatever else. I mean, I really do feel like I have the opportunity to change the course of their life. Should they be open? Should they be willing? And should, you know, it be the right time, right? But I have to open my mouth to discover that with people. And I have to be willing to walk down that line with them. And I have to be willing to be responsible and reliable and consistent and all those things that make me a professional so that they'll take me seriously. Because if I'm not, they'll just dismiss me like anything else that you can pick off a CVS shelf, you know? So again, just take a little bit of self-reflection tonight, but, you know, think about all the things that you know. Think about all the things you've been exposed to. Think about all the things you have access to that make us different, you know, and then think about those people and go back and look at your list and see, where have I fallen short? Who have I not followed up with? Who have I not reached out to because they're on my chicken list or whatever, you know, and let's start making a plan, because what we have is way too good to keep to ourselves. Okay. And you deserve the $9,998 charge. I'd pay it, because I trust you guys that much. All right. With that,
can I just welcome Carrie? She just got on the call at the very end. My new team member, my friend.
Of course.
I think she's not on video, but I don't know if she can hear me. Welcome to our team. Is she there?
Welcome, Carrie.
Is she there? Did she drop off? I have dropped off, but she was there.
Hi. No, I'm here. I was muted, and Max was asking me a question, so so I didn't get to answer.
Welcome.
I just caught the very tail end. Thank you. I was having some issues getting on, but.
Well, the good news is we record these, but I'm glad you got on. So, yeah. Carrie, I look forward to chatting with you further. Yeah.
Yeah, me too, Melissa. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, you guys, we'll let you go. Thanks for a great call. Talk to you soon.
Everybody.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.